Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Well and Worthy Life. I'm so excited to bring my friend Melanie back here with me today. And we have got a great topic for you. I asked you guys questions and what you wanted to hear about. And I kept hearing friendship and I kept hearing fasting because we've both been talking a lot about fasting. And then I also decided to bring in faith. So we're going to talk about these three topics, not in any order, but faith, friendship, and fasting, because these three things are important to both of us, aren't they, Melanie? So welcome back to the podcast.
Well, thank you. I just feel like this is a normal conversation that you and I would have if we're walking on the beach or if we're just doing life together. I call you all the time for advice and we help each other. So this is let's just pretend like we are walking and talking.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And I do love our walk and talks and spending time in person. I mean, right now, obviously we are virtual, but there's just nothing like spending time in person. Don't you agree?
Oh, I totally agree.
Guys, don't ever let just the phone or text or something like that get in the way. You really got to make time for your friendships. And that means really getting together at the very least once a year, I think. But I know some friendships, just for whatever reason you can't. And so that's why FaceTime and Zoom and all those things are so good. But so let's first talk about our friendship, because I think that's, first of all, where it all started for us is our friendship. And our friendship has grown. And how many years have we been friends now? I was trying to think. 3 years? 3?
I'm thinking more 4.
Is it?
Gotta be
No.
4.
No, I don't think
When was
so.
COVID? When was
COVID,
COVID?
2020.
That's when we started. So yeah, about 3
3
years.
years.
Right. You're better at judging
Yeah.
time.
I
I'm
mean,
not.
I think it was right around this time, 3 years ago, which is crazy because it seems like, I feel like you've been one of my best friends for years. I mean,
I love
I
it.
really do. I feel like I could call you for anything, anything.
Well,
And there aren't that many people like that in my life that I really feel that close to. So it all started with our friendship, even though, and I think this is what's so cool. It really started on Instagram kind of. And you live in Mississippi and I live in Alabama, and we'd really never been together in person until about 3 years ago. And we were together in person and just really connected. It was just that instant connection. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. You're so fun.
too, which this is why I circle back around when I think of our friendship, because I was a newly empty nester, right? And my
Yeah.
circle of friends had changed. I wasn't sitting at the ballpark with the moms I had been sitting with for 12 years, and I wasn't picking up the cheerleaders and carpooling them to where they had to go and doing all the things that we do when we have high school children, right?
Right.
So I was in a new arena, just a new change of life. And when I met you, we had so much in common.
Mhm.
And our values are the same, our faith, our eating, our putting our health as a priority. And I just was drawn to you because there aren't many people out there that like the same things that I like.
No, I agree. I totally agree. And friendships that you've had for years upon years, they can still be your friends because they're still my friends,
Right.
right?
Oh,
But at this stage of our life, we can really pick and choose who we spend our time with, and we want to find people who are into the same kind of things that we are, that are like-minded. We've talked about this so much, but it's so easy to travel together because we do like the same things. We like to eat the same way. We like to go to bed early. We like to get up early. We like our quiet time in the morning. We like to walk on the beach. There's so many things, but yet we're not totally alike. We disagree on some things, which is great too, because I think it goes back to this iron sharpens iron, and we both encourage each other so much.
right.
I mean,
And
you
I'm going
really
to tell
encourage me
everyone,
daily.
well, Likewise, I walk because of Deanna, everyone. I have never been a walker until I met Deanna, and now I walk all the time, and
I
what a
love it.
blessing it is to me. But I do want to encourage people out there. I had one friend reach out and said to me that her circle has gotten so much smaller, and she said it's really hard to find friends. And I prayed for you, Deanna. I prayed for you because I knew my circle was changing. Now, those people are still my friends. I'm
Mhm,
just not around them like I was, okay?
mhm,
Because some of them still have children and
mhm.
they're still in high school doing high school activities, and I'm out of that. And I haven't been back to the football stadium or the,
And you don't miss it either.
I don't. I love where I am. So I want to encourage you that I tell people all the time, you can meet some of the sweetest friends
Mhm.
at two places. Do you know where that is?
Where?
Church and the
Yes.
gym.
Church and the gym. Yes. Yeah.
And I've really met some of my best friends at in those two places. So
Mm.
pray about it and ask God to send you friendships, people you can connect with and do life with. And those two places, you'll probably meet them.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are great places. And I do think though, one of the things that I have found is that it is hard to make new friends at this age, but because especially if you find somebody that you really want to hang out with, but they've got a busy schedule too, and you're busy, and it's really hard to connect and spend time with somebody because you really need to spend time with somebody to be really good friends with them. And I
And
think
think about
we've been
that.
lucky about that.
Yeah, but we connected, but then our first trip solidified it, right?
Yes, yes. Mhm.
But
And that's the thing. I mean, I think that what we've done is we have spent a lot of time together, even though we live in two different states, but we have made a priority of our friendship to spend that quality time together. And then we talk probably, once a week at least, sometimes more than that, and sometimes maybe a little less than that, but keeping up that friendship because I think that's really important. And so when you do see somebody that you decide, hey, I like this person, I have something in common with this person, really reach out. And you may have to reach out more than once, right? And don't take it personally if they're busy. I mean, that maybe they're busy like you're busy, and and everybody's got things to do at this age too. And we kind of have this established routine, but friendships at this age are so important. I didn't even realize it until I hit my 50s how important girlfriends were. I used to watch my mom, Melanie, and my father died when my mom was 54. And so my mother moved to Birmingham. She lived in Chattanooga when my dad died. Then she moved to Birmingham for just not even a year. And then she moved down to the beach. Didn't know anybody, but that never stopped my mother.
tennis.
She played tennis. So
I'm
there's
thinking
that.
that's another area.
Yes.
Pickleball, tennis.
Hmm.
Okay, good. I just want
So
to tell you that.
she met her group of friends playing tennis, and they played bridge. And I remember thinking she had the best group of girlfriends. I remember thinking, because I was probably, gosh, I guess I was in my 30s when all that happened. And I remember thinking, wow, I wish I had friends like that. But I didn't have time to have friends like that. I had three little boys and I was busy. So, but now I am busy still, but I really try to make my friendships a priority. And I'm still continuously working on that friendship. Here in Birmingham, my friendships have stemmed from, kind of like you said, the gym or Pure Barre for me. Pure Barre, running, my Bible study, those have been really cultivating more new friendships, which I love and so
And speaking
important.
of Bible study, what a great way to start some friendships.
Mhm.
Have a Bible study in your home. That's what you're doing, Deanna. I think
Mhm.
I'm so inspired by that.
Mm.
that you do that.
It's funny because I've been wanting to have one for a long time. And then this friend of ours that we love, that's written a lot of devotionals that we love, I said, I really wish you would lead it. And so when she agreed to lead it, and then it was funny because she was like, okay, we'll invite some people. I was like, well, I don't really know who to invite. And that's so awful, right? I didn't like, oh, who am I going to invite? Thank goodness she had a lot of people to
And
invite.
now they're your friends.
They're my friends. And then what's happened this year with it is we've all invited more new people. So we've gotten a whole new, we still have our other group, but then this whole new people have come into it. And I'm sure, we'll connect some with others. And you know how Bible studies are, how any group starts off, even if it's like a book club, like people come to the first and the second one pretty good. And then it kind of fades off from there. So, but the core group stays there, and it's been really, really fun. And, that goes back to our faith, right? And that our faith is really, really important. And one of the things that we did together was that retreat that we went on, what was it called now?
Self Farms.
Yes. And it's called Hearts of Rest. Hearts of Rest. And so we went on that, not this past year, but year before last. And remember, we both were in there and we were like, was it then that we decided to read our Bible?
Yes. Okay. So Carol said she gave her testimony and she grew up Jewish. Okay. Remember this. This was so inspiring to me. And she said that she just couldn't find the Lord. She couldn't find that relationship. And one day after church, her pastor said, I just want you to read the Bible. Pick up the Bible and read it. And she started reading the Bible and she found the Lord. Her eyes were open. She was forever changed. And so now her mission statement is know Jesus and make him known. Remember that?
Yeah. And okay, how long have you been a Christian?
Okay. Oh, let's think. I don't know how.
I remember exactly
at my age, to be honest with you, but for a long time. But what an awakening that weekend.
Oh, exactly. So, okay, I'm 58. I remember when I accepted Jesus Christ into my heart, because I remember the exact moment. I was like I had to have been in like third or fourth grade, probably fourth grade. And I remember that. So, I grew up in church. And I remember that particular moment that they told me, you need to invite Jesus Christ into your life to make you so that he'll be your savior. And I did that. And then I grew up Methodist, and we had Bibles. I knew all the Bible stories. And even through my years, and there have been some times that have been so tough. And I've done Bible studies and really read the parts of the Bible, but never everything in the Bible. Never, ever, ever. Until that inspired both of us. And I'm still in the process of reading the whole Bible. I still haven't read it all, but I am almost there. Almost there.
The Bible is not an ancient dead book. And Hebrews 4:12 tells us the word of God is active and alive. And, after that weekend, I remember saying, you know what? I like you. I had gone in my devotionals and read certain chapters, the feel-good chapters, right? The Proverbs, the James. I always flip to the feel-good chapters, but the Exodus, the Genesis, the hard chapters.
Leviticus.
Of etiquette. Leviticus. I can't even say it all. I had a really hard time stumbling through those, but there were so many pearls along the way. And it just makes life make sense when you start from the beginning and read the Old Testament. And it's so eye-opening.
So, but I'll tell you, so I am reading it and I am almost through. But I'll tell you, like when I've been reading certain chapters, and even when I've been reading the feel good chapters, I'm just trying to read it right now. It's like, and I'm not trying to get anything out of it. I'm sure I am somehow, but Carol has said you'll just feel different after you finish reading it once, and then you need to start again and again. And to me, I think what encouraged me the most is watching her and knowing how she didn't become a Christian until she was 40 years old. So she hasn't even been a Christian, not even half as long as I have. And yet, looking at her and listening to her, she knows God better than I ever thought about knowing God, right?
I thought the same thing.
And
Like
so, yeah, I'm like, but it makes perfect sense. Like, if you want to know somebody, what do? You spend time with them, right? Just like
okay.
I was talking about friendships.
Yeah, okay. This is so funny. I was on my walk this morning. I was thinking, I love spending time with you, Deanna. Like, I have so much fun when we're together.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to work on that relationship. We have to make time to see each other. We pick up the phone and talk. You bring me joy. In order to have that intimate relationship with Jesus Christ, we have to make time for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I love, that you and I both make time in our mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, tell me about your morning routine. What do?
Oh, well, first I get up, have to let my dogs out, have to feed my dogs, get my water, drink my coffee or fix my coffee. Then I get in my spot where I've got my journal and my Bible right there.
Yes.
And then I read my Bible, write in my journal, spend some time in prayer. I mean, those are the first things I do every morning.
You know, I've told you I was doing the study on Revelation. And I just want to share just one. This has stuck out this morning. I was like so inspired by this verse. Let me put on my glasses so I can read this one. In Revelation 12:8, it says, the dragon lost the battle and was forced from heaven. Did you know that? He was defeated, Satan, dragon, and he was cast from heaven.
Because he was an angel.
Right.
That's what's so crazy.
Okay. He was defeated. Okay. Defeated. Let's don't forget this, right? So where is the devil now? On earth, lurking around, trying to cause anxiety, fear, sin amongst us, doubt, worry. Think of anything that causes you unhappiness. That's where he is, to creep in and rob you and steal you of joy, right? And take captive you. This is his world, okay? And he wants to own it. And if we're not reading the Bible, and if we are not seeking his wisdom, guidance, and discernment through his word, and if we're not spending time with him, how are we going to cultivate that relationship?
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. It is, and I wish that I would have started many, many years before now. Although I do believe that we are where we're supposed to be. I mean, God, this is no surprise to God that I'm just now reading my Bible. He knew this was going to happen. It was like, I mean, he knew some of the bad choices I was going to make in life. He knew I was going to be married 3 times. I mean, these are not new to God, and there were times that, like I said before, where, man, I mean, when I went through my divorce, when my dad died, I mean, when my mother passed away, all those times that I grew closer and closer to God. But what I found is that it was in the bad times that I was really close to God, right? And in the good times, I was like, I got it.
Or at one point, I was a 911 Christian prayer.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
I need you, Lord, please. I got to have this. Let me make an A on my test. Help me here. Help me here. Only when I needed him in the 911 situations, right?
Right.
Now it is a surrender. What do you want from me, Lord, today? How can I use this trial to glorify you? It's a repentance, daily repenting. Forgive me. Help me. show me your way. And, you know, he is my best friend. I can't imagine not having an intimate relationship with him. And, you know, delight yourself in the Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart. He is a delight. He's a joy. He's fun. Is he not fun?
Oh, I think it's
Yeah.
so fun. And I think that for me, because I do feel like probably this is one of the first times in my life where I really am seeking him and trying to get to know him when everything is good in my life. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have anything that's like a catastrophe happening like I have before. I mean, I've had some real catastrophes, real dark moments and bad moments. And I'm like, to me, this seems so different because I'm like, truly, like, yes, he is my best friend. And I love spending time with him. You know, wish I could even spend more time with him. But you know, there are so many hours in a day, and I think that for me, I have this purpose of being here, you know, and part of that is living in this world and, you know, being in connection with other like-minded women, you know, like yourself, and having friendships, building those friendships, because I think we, you know, that even if somebody is not exactly like us, that when we do things, it's kind of leads by example. Like you help inspire me to continue reading that Bible. You know, I hit a snag with reading the Bible, and I was just like, I can't do it. We were trying to do that 90-day plan. I was like, I can't do this. No. And so I just kind of gave up. But you changed courses and you kept reading and did it a little bit differently. And then you told me, and I was like, oh, well, I can do that.
So let's tell people, what are you doing? How are you getting it in? And I'll tell you how I'm getting it in, because I had to change courses too.
So what I ended up doing is taking different books of the Bible and just reading those books. So I was trying to think, I think I had made it through a lot of the Old Testament in the 90-day plan. And I want to say made it around Kings or somewhere around in there.
Yeah, it was around Kings. I remember you telling me, and I was like, okay, I'm close to you.
Yeah. And then I just couldn't do it anymore. So then I thought, I'm just going to start with the New Testament because I needed some of the New Testament. So I started with the New Testament, just all the books of the New Testament. And then I went back and picked up. And now what I'm doing, I had made it all the way through and gotten to Psalms. And I just didn't want to read Psalms straight through. I don't know why, but I didn't. And so I was reading a little bit of Psalm. And then I don't have my Bible over here, but the next chapter was Proverbs. And then after Proverbs is what? No, I just finished it.
Because numbers, I have to think. So you and I are close to each other then. So when you go back, we'll be kind of back in the
I'm writing now. I'm reading Proverbs and Jeremiah. Those are the two books I'm reading. So I read about at least one chapter of Proverbs, and then today I read two chapters of Proverbs and one chapter of Jeremiah. So that's where I am right now. So I'm close to being done with the Bible.
Well, I just started reading it from beginning in a little.
Okay.
At least a chapter a day.
Yeah.
But now I've gotten sidetracked into this Revelation study, but I made it to Ecclesiastes, and now I'm in Revelation, this Wednesday night Bible study, and it's reading it too.
That's great.
Loving Revelation, like talking about prayer. I did not know this. I cannot believe that I'm 54 and I just discovered this. I want to read this too. This is like huge to me. Revelation 5:8. And it says, and he took the scroll, and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each with a harp and golden vials filled with incense, the prayers of God's people. So our prayers are collected in golden vials of incense in heaven. That's how amazing is that? How powerful that is, that God loves our prayers, and when we talk to him,
Mhm.
he has them collected. I mean, does that
Mhm.
not just
Yes. Ah.
everything?
Mhm. It really is. I mean, and I think that's the thing that, yeah, I mean, and I think that he does hear our prayers, and he wants us to know him. I have envisioned him so much like this parent. Like he is this like parent that how when you have children, like you want them to do what you want them to do, but you cannot control them, right? You cannot control them, and you love them no matter what. When they make stupid mistakes, when they do things that you have kind of told them, you really shouldn't do this, whatever. And they do it anyway, and they turn their back on you, and they tell you they don't like you at different times. That's what I envision. And God's still up there like, I love you. I still love you. May
Yeah,
not like you right now, but I love you.
I love you. I'm right here.
But anyway, I think that really that having somebody that encourages me to stay on track. And let's face it, if I was hanging out with you and your faith was like not as strong and my faith wasn't as strong, and we didn't make that a priority, I mean, then we wouldn't encourage each other. And so I think that whether it comes to our faith, whether it comes to fasting, which we're going to get into in a minute, when it comes to eating healthy, when it comes to the things that are important to us, like you said, our values are so much alike, that's why it's so important to have these types of friendships. And I know you got a question because if people have been following both of us for a while, they know that we worked together for a while, and think people think we broke up.
Oh my goodness. And there was a little time where it wasn't that we broke up. We had it was getting tense for a little
It
while
was.
because it was so much going on with Well and Worthy Life, like so many changes at one time.
Mhm.
And I think that, and I know this, we were both just tired of being on social media.
Mhm.
And it was exhausting for you and me.
Mhm.
And there were a couple of times. There was one little time that and that's okay, guys.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
you know what? I think it is okay. And there was a time where I would have been like pulled away tremendously. Like we had a little moment there, some words back and forth that were not, our best. It wasn't our best time as friends. But
but
but we
we
we stayed with it because we knew our friendship was more important than anything.
we started, remember when we first started, I'll never forget walking down your driveway, going on a walk, and we said, if this ever gets in the way of our friendship, we're gonna reevaluate and
Mhm.
change directions. And that is how important you are to me.
Mhm. Oh, me too. I mean, it's just like so important. And I think that what we did together was such an important time. And it was great for our friendship because we got to spend a lot of time together. We helped a lot of women together. And yet, it's like you said, it was really too much. It was way too much for both of us. It's like we got to have a time of
You know
like,
what? We had our priorities right. It
Mhm.
was interfering with our family.
Mhm.
And the thing that I love the most is that we stopped at when it was very successful. It wasn't
Yeah.
that the program was peak. It was, it wasn't not
Exactly. Yeah, it was.
very peak.
It was. I mean, most people like business-wise would say, "Y'all are idiots."
Yeah, they would say, "You what?" But you know what I love
Right.
now is I love how you've taken and you've made it so much easier and so much more affordable for everybody in Revive.
Mhm.
Like, Revive is everything. It's just
I think it's,
taking
it
away
fits
all the fluff.
more. Yeah, it fits more of my lifestyle. It fits more this midlife journey where, it's not so much all at once. And so yeah, I'm hopeful. We're still in the beginnings of it, but I really feel like Revive Now, we've started out with a great group of women who are, like you said, like-minded women who are going through this stage of life, and we do it better together than we do when we're not together. So, but let's go back and talk about fasting, because I think that's a big part of what we wanted to talk about. Because, I've been intermittent fasting since, oh gosh, now years. I feel like for the last 7 years. I've coached a program before I even came up with Balance, Revive Now, and any of those courses. I coached a course it's called Faster Way to Fat Loss. And that was one of the components, was fasting, was
Right.
intermittent fasting. And the way I was taught intermittent fasting was that the 16-8 protocol. I'm sorry, 16-8 protocol. So 16 hours of fasting and 8 hours of eating window. And we'll go over this a little bit more in depth, but that's kind of what we taught all the clients to do, which now, looking back, I was talking to another Faster Way coach the other day. What a mistake that was, because not all women should be fasting alike. There are so many different ways to fast. But anyway, this 16-8 worked for me for years, and I did it. I've changed it up a little bit over the last 2 or 3 years and haven't been as regimented. I was so regimented for a time. And, one of the things, I know we're going to refer to Fast Like a Girl, Dr.
Yeah.
Mindy Hells wrote, and, she talks about in there that this is not a diet, but I made it more like a diet for me. Because, and with it being so regimented, I felt like I had to do it for weight, not for health. And I think, and every now and then with Faster Way, we would throw in these 24-hour fasts. And I did them not because of any other reason other than the whole group was doing them and I thought I should do them. I mean, there was no real other reason. And now I know there's so much more. Plus, there's been so much more research done on it and everything else. So let's talk a little bit about fasting and how, first of all, it's been around forever.
Right.
This is not something new, right?
No. And, I get the question asked a lot too, is why do you fast? For many, I had that question.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, it's health and healing.
Mm.
And what is an easy way to put it is that our bodies thrive on cycles. We have all these cycles, right?
Mm.
And two of the main sources, how do we get our energy? From food, sugar, carbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other way we get energy is from fat burning,
Ketones. Mm-hmm.
right?
Ketones.
So
Yeah.
you got two energy sources: food, sugar, carbs, the food we eat, or the fat burning. So if you just look at 24 hours, your 24-hour day, and think, when am I going to eat? And when am I going to go into that fat burning mode? Well, the fat burning mode starts at when? 8 hours. That starts at a minimum of 8 hours. So we're sleeping most of the time
Which
during
is
that.
great.
It's great. So then the next day, like you said, I just extend it I make it a 16-hour fast too, but anywhere between 12 and 16 is therapeutic.
Right. When did you start fasting?
About 4 years ago. I'm
Mhm.
thinking about 4 years
Mhm.
ago. And I did
What
it,
made you decide?
hormone balance, that belly fat creeping
Mhm.
in. And here's one thing that's huge: mental and just mental focus, the cognitive, the brain health there. But at 3 o'clock every day, for as long as I can remember, prior to fasting, at 3 o'clock, around that time, I wanted a nap. It was like I was dragging, like literally dragging. And I always thought, what is wrong with me? I'd always thought that. And when I started fasting, that afternoon lull went away. Belly flat, belly fat shrinking, okay? And then more energy because of those ketones. Isn't that crazy? So,
Yeah.
you know, that's why I do it, but I tell everybody, do it and see how you feel. How do you feel?
Right. And here's the thing, and we know this. So if you have a cycle, there are different times of the month that you should not fast. And there are certain people that should not fast. And we're not going to go into all that because, I mean, get the book Fast Like a Girl. I highly recommend that book. Also, she did 2 podcasts. Dr. Mindy did 2 podcasts with Mel Robbins that were fabulous. She just did those. We'll link those in the show notes. And I am trying to she's working on a new book right now. So hopefully the first of the year, I've been in contact with Dr. Mindy's assistant, and hopefully I will have her on this podcast and we can talk about actually her new book coming out. But let's go through her different fasts that she has. She has 6 different length fasts. And I don't know that these are hers, but these are the 6 different length fasts. One's the intermittent fasting, which is the 12 to 16 hours.
That's the most common.
Right. And then the autophagy fasting, which starts at 17 hours. So really 17 to 19 hours right in there. The gut reset fast, which is 24 hours, which she recommends for people that maybe you've been on antibiotics or things like that. So
another one that I think, stop right there because I want people to know this. The 24 hours, also great if you have been on birth control. Because you know that completely messes up your gut health. And that this 24-hour resets that, which I think is huge.
Oh, that is huge. Huge.
Okay,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
I just
the fat burner fast, which is 36 hours. I've never done that. I know you have, and I want to talk about that. The dopamine reset fast, which is 48 hours, and then the immune reset, which is more than 72 hours. So there are different ways to fast, right? And I think the more common one that most people are doing is the intermittent fasting, that 12 to 16 hours. And I pretty much do 12 to 16 hours every single day. I usually get up in the morning. I usually quit eating at least by 8. I try at least to cut my eating off by 8 because I like to be in bed by 9. So I want to be in bed at least, and I want to have an hour. Sometimes it's 9:30, and then I am, it depends on how I feel in the morning, but usually I get up, I drink my couple of cups of coffee, and then drink some water, of course, do my quiet time, and then I go work out. And people are always surprised to hear that I work out, but it wasn't always this way. I didn't always feel like I could do that. And I want to talk about that too, because I do remember when I first started fasting. But then I go work out, and then usually I'll come home and get busy, drink lots of water, and then break my fast anywhere between 11 and 1, somewhere in between there. And then I try not to snack. I try to have a pretty large meal focused on protein and fiber when I break that fast. And then, so that might, like I said, anywhere between 11 and 1. And then usually about 4, I'm starting to get hungry again. And I don't want to wait till, Jeff gets home, because that could be 6, it could be 7. And so I might eat something around 4. It's not going to be my biggest meal or anything. It's going to be kind of a larger snack, I would say, like maybe yogurt and some berries or something like that. Maybe cottage cheese and some berries or something like that. And then dinner at least by 7, done by 8, and start again. That's a normal day for me. What's a normal day for you?
Okay, before I go there, I got to say this. I think it's important for everybody to know you don't start out when you decide.
Yeah.
You don't say, okay, I'm going 16 hours. Woohoo, let's roll. I know all the benefits. I want to be like Deanna and Melanie, and I'm doing this. So you've got to work up to it. And the first few times you do it, you may feel bad for a day, okay? Or, it may take you a while to build up in your brain actually trains you, right?
Right. I mean, you might start having headaches. You might feel nauseated. There could be all kinds of things. So this is the thing that, so we want to be metabolically flexible, right? And so metabolically flexible means that you can go from burning sugar, which our body is our number one fuel source that our body desires, is that sugar or those carbs, right? Or you're going to be burning fat, ketones. Okay.
Right.
So those are your two things. So you want your body to be able to go back and forth between the two of them. And that's called metabolically flexible. Well, what happens is, like for me, before I started any of this, I would get that hangry. Like, if I do not have something to eat right now, my head would start hurting. I would become so mad at everybody around me. Just get out of my way. And so you, like you just said, you have to start so slow. So
Start
maybe
out by, how did you
push it.
start out? Push it by 1 hour.
Yeah, exactly. Just an hour.
Yeah.
Let your body be uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but you don't have to be miserable. You don't have to have a raging headache. You don't have to feel nauseated. You don't have to feel like you have to lay down the whole day. You just work up to it. It's just like when you would be training for a marathon, which I've never done that. So, but I know I wouldn't just go out and run a marathon. You got to train for it, right?
So I was the same way. I mean, we grew up, think about it. Our parents said, you've got to eat your breakfast. I even train my children that
Oh,
way.
me
You've
too.
got to have that breakfast before you leave for your energy. You've got to eat. What are we having? You've got to eat breakfast. And I grew up thinking that way until I started this. And I thought, there's no way I can work out on an empty stomach. And let me tell you something. You can, and you're going to feel better, and you're going to have more energy. Just start out slow. Start by pushing your breakfast back 1 hour. Start for a week. So do that for a week. Then push it back 2 hours, right? And then push it back 3. But anywhere between 12 and 16 is that happy spot. And if you're going to do this, go through the uncomfortable phase and do it for at least, how long would you say do it to see how your body responds and how you feel? I say at least 6 weeks minimum.
Yeah, I definitely think 6 weeks. But if at any time you aren't feeling good, then maybe you need to check with your doctor. Always remember there are certain circumstances that you should not be fasting. And I think it's the week before your period. If you're
For your period,
if you're
okay,
having a cycle, yeah.
for fasting, estrogen loves fasting. Progesterone hates fasting.
Right.
So if you still have your menstrual cycle, you need to not fast the week before your period. You need to eat healthy carbs. You know how we're craving chocolate and pizza, what all the things that we used to crave before our period. All the things, okay, that's normal to crave all those carbs the week before your period because your progesterone needs to go up. All right. So, but what I challenge you to do is eat the healthy carbs, the potatoes, bananas, love
bananas,
so
love
good.
bananas,
Dark
berries.
chocolate, all the
Yeah.
healthy, nutrient dense carbs. Eat those the week before. Also, you want to make sure that you're resting during that time because your cortisol level needs to stay down. Then the day you start your menstrual cycle, you can go back to your fasting.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
important for people to know that still have their cycle.
Yeah.
And
So somebody asked, one of our questions was, is it beneficial to fast perimenopausal as it is menopausal? And yes, 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 and yes. You just have to do it differently, right? And even menopausal women, we have cycles according to the moon still. In fact, I really want to research this a little bit more, but and she talks about that we can cycle according to the moon, or we can just, listen to our body a little bit more. You don't have to be like, when I did it at first, I was like 16 hours every day. I had to do 16 hours.
No, I'm not
And
that way.
no,
I'm really not.
no,
I'm
I'm not either anymore. And it goes back to this. I want to hear what your typical day is, and then we'll go somewhere else.
just like yours.
Just like mine. Okay. So
I get up real quickly. I get up, I have my 24 ounces of lemon water right by my vanity, ready to go after I brush my teeth. I drink that as I'm doing my daily chores. Then I go to my back porch in my spot with my coffee and my Jesus time. Sacred. That time is so sacred.
Mhm.
And so I have black coffee. Now here's something that you can add to it. This is important. We talk about this. I don't do this, but Mindy says do, and I think I'm gonna start. She says to add, everybody, a lot of people that fast do this, add the MCT oil.
Mhm.
It is a natural fat burner, and it also curbs your appetite. So it shuts that off. So I may try to add.
And she even said you can add full fat cream too.
Yes, and you can have both of those together
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Mel Robbins asked her, "Can I have the cream with the MCT oil?" And she said, "Yes."
Yes.
So know that. I just like the flavor of the bean. I train myself to do that. So we won't go there, but I may start adding some MCT oil just to see. Another thing you can have, it's important so people know what you can have. If you're not a coffee drinker, you can have tea, green tea, black tea. Another thing that you can have are those elements that you and I love.
I know. And she
Yep,
didn't
well,
say, I thought we could only have the elements if we were doing a fast, if they were the unflavored ones, but
no,
she
but
didn't say.
didn't say any of them.
I
So guys,
know.
if you got element and coffee and MCT oil with cream, well,
Exactly.
hello, you can
I
eat go
know.
12 hours. If you slept 8 hours, you can go to 12.
Yeah,
Come on.
exactly. And we'll put the link for the elements in the show notes too, because those are fabulous. We both love those. What's your favorite flavor?
Oh goodness. Grapefruit, citrus,
Grapefruit's definitely my favorite too. I
raspberry.
love grapefruit. Then orange is my second favorite.
So I go work out on that
Mhm.
empty stomach. Love it, have so much energy. I drink my water throughout my workout, come back, have my water. I like to eat like you early in the evening. So let's
Mhm.
say 6 o'clock, I've eaten, and that next day I'm gonna probably have a piece of avocado toast with eggs on it, high protein. I always break that fast with protein,
Mhm.
like you do. And that's usually between 10 and 12, depending on what time I have
Mhm.
my meal.
Mhm.
I schedule around my family. If John and I eat at
Right.
7, okay, no big deal. I extend
Right.
my
Right.
and
You're not so regimented that it makes everybody miserable around you
yeah,
and
and
everything,
on vacation, I eat if the
Yeah.
buffet comes with the room, I eat the buffet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think that's the whole thing, is like you have to figure out what works best for you. And I think that that's the really important thing. But one of the things that really is kind of inspired this podcast was, like I said, our faith, our friendship, and then fasting, and how Melanie inspires me. And we had talked on the phone the other day. And I said, what's for dinner tonight? And you said, what's funny, I'm doing a 24-hour fast, but I'm about to it'll be later and I'll break my fast with this. And I was like, oh, gosh, I need to do a 24-hour fast. I should do a 24-hour fast. And so, because it had been a long time since I'd done a 24-hour fast, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a 24-hour fast. And I did one, and I had like a couple hours, and you were like, keep going, you've got this. And so it was another encouragement to me. And I was like, yeah, I'm so thankful for my friendship with you, because you encourage me in so many ways. And you do feel really good, but you don't want to jump to that 24-hour fast.
I want to let me share
Again.
that. Let me talk about that for a second. Thank you for that. But this is what I want to say about your brain training you. And Mindy will tell you she loves fasting so much and she gets so much energy from it that she has to prioritize eating sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And when she said in the book, your brain will train you and you will get used to it. Well, after that 16-hour fast, and I knew the health benefits of pushing it to 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are my spiritual when I'm really, really, really need to do a dive spiritually. Like I need clarification. I need wisdom, guidance, and discernment. I just need a break from the world. It just means to be me and you, Jesus, like me and you throughout the day. No focus on food or anything else. I've gone 48 hours thinking I was going to go 24 and extended it all the way to 48 hours just by doing that spiritual, sitting down with my Bible and just crying out like, Lord, I got to have you. And it's just
Wow.
amazing, amazing, amazing the energy that he will give you and the just fill your heart with just everything you could ever need.
So let me ask you this, because I know everybody that's listening, they're wondering, okay, so you did a 24-hour fast and then you were like, I want to, I need God, and so that's why I want to do another 24 hours, or you were like, I knew the health benefits, so I'm just going to go another 24 hours, and so I'm just going to get into my spiritual, like what happened? What made you?
So 24 hours, I did my first 24 hours when my daughter went to college.
Mm.
And I just was going through that time of, I don't know, I'm emotional now. Just missing her and just a void. So I did that
Yes.
24 hours then.
So many women can feel
Yeah.
you right now.
Yeah, it was so spiritual and I got so much wisdom and just my heart just felt so joyful doing that. So I knew how good that felt. And then, well, after you do 24 hours, it's time for bed again. Think about it.
Mhm.
So I was like, well, I'm going to just sleep on and push it to 36.
Mhm.
All right. That's easy to do. If you're going to bed next morning, get up. It really is.
Mhm.
And
Doesn't
then
sound easy to me, but because I've never done 36, but
I'm just saying, if you
yeah.
try, if you do
Yeah.
24 hours regularly,
Right.
36 hours becomes nothing.
Right.
And then the 48 hours becomes easy. That's what I'm saying. It's all stepping
Mhm.
stones.
Yeah.
And I was just feeling so good. I just pushed it to that 48
Mhm.
hours.
I love that. Love
Now that's not something I can do. I don't know when I will do that again, quite honestly. I
Right.
want to do
And doesn't she even recommend only doing that like once a quarter, I think, once a quarter maybe,
once a
or
quarter.
twice a year. Twice a year, I think
She
that one
said
is.
she does the 72-hour twice a year.
Oh,
I
72.
cannot imagine doing the 72-hour, but I
Mm,
do want to do that for stem cells,
that's
anti-aging.
right. Mhm.
I just remembered this too. I had a little scare, a little health scare, and I did that 48 hours because I just was praying through some things, lots of things during that time.
Mhm.
But anyway, you can
Yeah.
do all things through Christ who gives you strength.
So true. It's so
Just
true.
submit to him and surrender. And I never got hungry.
I think that is amazing. I do think, but I will tell you, this last 24 hours that I did, never did get hungry, and I didn't get a headache. And I have gotten headaches before. I have tried to do a 24-hour fast and started getting a major headache. And when I used to try and tough it out. And now I'm just like, "Ugh, I'm not toughing it out. I'm going to eat." I do suffer from headaches more than I should. I don't really know exactly why. I'm really trying to get to the bottom of it. I really think it may have to do with my hormones and stuff. I'm not sure, but I have to read this because I think this is really, because this is going to air, Melanie, in October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I want to read this study because I found this very, very interesting. It says in 2016, the Journal of the American Medical Association released an observational study that looked at more than 2,000 women between the ages of 27 and 70 who had undergone conventional breast cancer treatment. After analyzing this large group of women for 4 years, researchers determined that when women fasted 13 hours, so only 13 hours or more, they had a 64% less chance of recurrence of breast cancer. This is largely because fasting created a significant decrease in hemoglobin, A1C, an indicator of blood glucose levels, and C-reactive protein, an indicator of inflammation. Very few drugs can offer that kind of result. This is how miraculous the body can be when fasting.
Think about Jesus. When did he how long did he fast?
Oh, what he fasted for like 30 days and 30 nights? No.
40 days.
40 days. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, he fasted a long time. Yeah. And we can live a long time without food.
He fasted and he prayed. And if he needed it, we're no different. I mean,
yeah.
That's amazing. That study, that's huge. Everybody,
it's huge.
Every woman should do that. That within itself. But I do think too, it's important. And we say this over and over, Deanna, but I want to stress this. Listen to your body. Start out. You may have a goal of saying, you know what, I'm going to try to go for 12 hours. And if you feel bad, stop, restart.
Exactly. This isn't like a test that you have to pass. I mean, this isn't.
And my goal in that 48-hour, that was my goal. But I knew if I felt like I couldn't push through, I was going to stop. If I was going to stop after the 24 hours and went to 36 and then to 48.
Right.
You just listen to your body. And there's some days I don't do a 12-hour. I'm hungry for whatever reason, or it may be stress. It's usually stress related. I'm like, I just need some food.
Well, stress can, but you know what? I mean, or maybe it could be like you don't sleep well, which is stress right there, right? And and so maybe you do need to eat, because we know that too much stress on our body is not good. So if you have the stress of not sleeping well, and maybe you're worrying about something, and then you try to exercise really hard, and then you try to intermittent fast. I mean, those are too many stressors. What can you control in that? You can control, I can eat. You can control, don't work out too hard. I'm really, think about those kind of things. But gosh, we've talked for so long, and you and I could just keep on going forever and ever and ever. But I'm so happy to have this conversation with you and share all of this with everyone.
I feel honored you would invite me. You have so many amazing women on your podcast.
Nobody as amazing as you, girlfriend. Nobody.
Real life. And it's just me and you. And I want us to inspire other women to, things that have worked for us. It's worth sharing. So thank you for having me. I love you, and I love my time.
You.
And if we can help anybody, reach out to us, but do your own research on the fasting. Read. I say read. It took me reading and understanding it before I would make the jump.
Yeah. You need to read, you need to understand, dip your toe into it. Always, do it in community. I will say community is key. Get into a community. I do have the Revive Now community that I'd love for you to join us. But if you don't, if that's not the right one for you, get a friend, do it with a friend. It's always better to do it with a friend. Always for that encouragement.
There's some days that you're walking, I'm like, okay, I'm going for a walk now. and listen, people, you need to know this is so funny. Like I told Deanna, I said, I'm coming off that 24 hours fast. And I look on her story, and she was doing the next day.
Yep, I was. Because you encouraged me. So anyway, well, thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram. Your website.
And melshealthylifestyle.com. So Mel's Healthy Meals, melshealthylifestyle.com.
Yes.
And thank you, Dee. I love you.
Thank you. Love you so much.
Mississippi.
Yes.